All right, so recently we just had our Passover, and generally what I like to do around the time of Passover, especially if I have a newcomer, is I'll go into the plagues of Egypt, which then led to the Passover, and then on the Passover I'll deal with the Passover on that day. So I'm going to do a series, and this video here is going to actually be a prelude to the series of the plague. So in this video, in this prelude, what I'm going to do is deal with the stretched out arm and the rod. So let's just get right into it. So in Exodus 6 verse 6, it says, "Wherefore say unto the children of Israel," okay, that's who's being addressed, "I am Yahweh, and I will bring you," the children of Israel, "out from under the burdens of the Mizraim," which is Egypt, "and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you, Israel, with a stretched out arm and with great judgments." That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're addressing. We're going to go one chapter over to get the second context again. So, "But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Mizraim, and bring forth my armies and my people, the children of Israel." Notice how the "my people" is the Most High's children, the children of Israel, "out of the land of Mizraim by great judgments." So these great judgments, as we continue on down to verse 19, we're going to see that is the rod, and we're going to see the hand that's being used. So verse 19 of chapter 7, "And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, say unto Aaron, take your rod and stretch out your hand upon the waters of Mizraim." Now I'm going to address this part in the first video, but the waters of Mizraim upon their streams, basically their rivers, ponds, and pools of water. But in relevant part, I want to deal with the "take your rod and stretch out your hand." But I thought this was the hand of the Most High. See, when people are looking and searching for contradictions, they will think that this is a contradiction. No, Aaron's hand and this rod is the hand that the Most High is using. That's all that means. So let's get some understanding so that we can break down this rod and the hand of Aaron. Okay, so for a little understanding, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 19, starting at verse 19, that is, it says, "The portion of Jacob is not like them." So the context here is about Jacob. I did not write it. It's in black and white. "For he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance." Well, we just saw in chapter 6 of Exodus that this is the Most High's people. So it's lining up, and it's calling Israel the rod, okay? The Lord of hosts is his name. "You," meaning Israel, "are my battle axe and weapons of war. For with you," who? Israel, "will I," the Most High, "break in pieces the nations." Well, going back to Exodus, didn't we read that he's going to save them by great judgments, leading to the plagues? That's why I'm doing this prelude, and this is exactly how the plague series that I'm going to do is going to work. It's going to be detailed with biblical definitions, no interpretation. Okay. "For with you will I break in pieces the nations, and with you," who? Israel, "will I destroy kingdoms." Well, we do know that the Mizraim, or Egypt, is one of the kingdoms being destroyed with the rod that's in Aaron's hands. It's very simple. It's not a physical Lion King graffiti staff being no, I know we see that in movies, but this is There's movies and then there's precepts, and the book tells you to get proper understanding, you must use precepts as a requirement. So as we move forward, we go to 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 14. It says, I will be his father and he shall be my son. Obviously, this is talking about the sons being Israel. Okay, those are the sons of God. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men. What does that mean? And with the stripes of the children of men. So we know in Deuteronomy, well, really throughout the whole Bible, but I'm going to say specifically in Deuteronomy, it outlines the thou shalts and the thou shalt nots. The penalties for the if you shall not, it lines up with this. I'm going to chasten you with the rod of men. So we don't think this is a literal rod. It's men. So the men in the previous position that we read in Jeremiah shows that, hey, these men are the children of Israel. The rod is being directed at the Mizraim. In this sense, it's talking to the children of Israel, and the rod's being directed towards the children of Israel, the sons of God. Okay, let's move forward to Psalms 110. I'm just getting witnesses and definitions. This is no interpretation. I'm not even saying anything. I'm quoting everything. Okay, Psalms 110 and 2. Yahweh shall send the rod of your strength out of Zion, rule in the midst of your enemies. The enemy is going to be the receivers of this rod, just like in Egypt. We see that the Mizraim are the recipients of the rod, the enemies of Israel. Okay. And finally, we have Lamentations 3 and verse 1. I am the man that has seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. These are the great judgments. Okay, this is how this series is going to go. I mean, I usually do this, but I'm being specific with these plagues because every time we get ear or wind of a plague, we think it's literal water being turned to blood. We think it's literal frogs, etc. But that's just silly because that's not really going to destroy a nation. It leaves no understanding. So I'm going to provide the understanding using precepts as required with no private interpretation. So that's the rod that's in Aaron's hands. The rod is really God's wrath being placed in one person's, or I'm gonna say in one nation's hand against another nation. It's not nation specific, again, because we're going to see with these plagues that sometimes they're directed at other nations at the hand of Israel, and vice versa. It's the hand of man against the nation of Israel. But it's the same plagues, aka the same 4 horses. So that's all I have for now, as it is written, and I'm out.